This week on the podcast, Timo Mass.
I do have history. You probably don't. But it doesn't matter for the relevance of today. And back in the days, the only soul thing you were identifying yourself was skills and quality. Yeah. It's the perfection of what you can have in DJing. Yeah. The response of the crowd, the energy, the pure driving energy. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm awake. I was up early, went for a run, went for a walk, and had breakfast. Finished a remix for somebody, and now talking to you.
Wow, busy morning then already, huh?
Podcast recording days are always busy because it's you don't get much time in between, and also need to like have the brain power. And then I write music for some people occasionally as like favors to help them out, and I had somebody that needed like a remix done like ASAP. So I'm kind of like in between trying to fix everything. But
I know the score.
Yeah, you know how it is. It's like, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I also got up really early this morning. As I'm not a long sleeper anyway. So I did already a few meetings and so on and so on. Cleaned up the kitchen because a happy wife, a happy wife, happy life. So exactly. When she's coming back later from work, she's got to be, you cleaned up the kitchen. I said, the little tricks to have the rest of the day like in a good mood. And yeah, all those things that I'm doing. I mean, I'm not having really off days. Fortunately, I'm traveling a lot at the moment. Yeah. So a whole bunch of shows that I'm doing. I work nearly every day with like some of my partners, mostly remote here via Zoom or anything like that on different projects, like completely diverse and different people. And so yeah, I'm always busy. I'm always rolling, and
I love that.
I'm happy and content in the position where I am right now.
I like that, man. Talk me through a day of Timo. I think because you've been doing this for so long, right? Like you've been doing it longer than since I started, and probably longer since that again. And
how old are you, Will?
I'm 32. No, I'm not 32. That's an absolute lie. I'm 34.
You're 34. Yeah, I mean, I'm 56 in 2 months.
Yeah.
And I am DJing 43 years
since you were 13, right?
Yeah, I started with 13.
Yeah. So tell me a day in a life of Timo, of like how you structure your days and how you focus on projects.
I mean, my day, really every day, starts first of all with 2 double espressos and like half an hour to open my eyes, and to just like, get rolling. This is something, this is like, even if I only slept like 2-3 hours, sometimes it is like that. I get up early in the morning. My wife goes out early in the morning and I want to see her in the morning, no matter if I was in bed by 3-4. But then it's, I do a lot of things. It's nearly, I mentioned that before, nearly every day I work on some production or some, let's say, administrative things around the production. Yeah. Sometimes it's the active production. Sometimes it's, marketing, like right now, like, recording some podcasts, mixes, preparing some other stuff. But, the day starts early for me, and usually it goes very late as I'm in contact with people from all around the world, different time zones, and so on and so on. I'm one of those guys. I really do have problems standing still. I always think, the things are happening, even though in a, let's say, kind of a difficult, more complex like music business, what it is today compared to back in the days. Yeah. But if you're not moving your ass, nothing's happening. So I am one of those people moving my ass. My career was never like based on, something like a modern career. You have one viral video and then you're there. It's like when I started, there was even no internet. And, my whole career is based on hard work to achieve the goals that I wanted to achieve. So it's a bit old school, but it's real. And somehow, sometimes the younger people, but you could do it like this way. I said, I'm a worker. Yeah. I love to work. I really do love what I do, and I put everything into that. Most importantly, I think I'm an authentic guy also with my music and everything, DJ producing and so on and so on. And I want to keep it like that, using the modern ways of technology, but just do the things I'm best in, really. Yeah, I mean,
No,
inauthentic. Yeah.
I really love that, and I think it's I generally think as well. Even now, like I think you say it's the younger generation, even my generation in the industry. We started without the internet. The internet was around, but it wasn't. It was MySpace, if you know what I mean. You couldn't post a video up on the internet because there just wasn't enough speed
Mm.
to put a video up. But like I think that even now, so the level of needing to put hard work in to your career doesn't happen overnight. And yeah, you have the people that have viral hits, and but realistically, no one can generate that, right? Like no one can make that happen. It's just pure luck, right? But I
Luck,
think there's just a
momentum, call it what you want. There's a whole bunch of things coming together that something happens. Yeah.
exactly. I think there's just a level of like you have to put the work in.
Hmm.
You've been doing this nearly 43 years. What have you changed in your life over these years on how you work, or is it still the same?
It's obviously not the same.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, I don't want to sound like the techno grandpa who's like back in the war it was like that or so. There's a major difference between back in the days and today. And I was mentioning the word authentic.
yeah,
Back in the days, like before social media, before this, before that, and so on and so on, and even before the traveling DJ culture
yeah,
even began. And back in the days, the only sole thing you were identifying yourself was skills and quality. Yeah, you were getting your arrangements in the clubs when you were great, and not because you have a great video or you look like awesome or whatever. Yeah, um, it and nowadays this is what I mentioned with authentic. Nowadays, let's say the um, the amount of quality that's needed to have a visible career is unfortunately going down. Let's say maybe 20% of a whole picture is the music, the rest is like the
yeah,
marketing and so on and so on. And I don't like it,
yeah,
but it is, if I like it or not, it doesn't matter, doesn't change the reality what it is right now. So I would say this is possibly the biggest difference between, I mean, technology, social media, blah 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 blah. When I had my or when my heydays were really starting in the early 2000s, we still didn't have an iPhone, so we didn't really have this kind of like social media
yeah,
access and social media representation. I was just talking yesterday with a friend of mine, but I mean, in the very early 2000s, I had already a forum on my timomass.com web page that had more than 10,000 users already, like
yeah,
really actively like changing or swapping like mixes and track listings and so on and so on, was like super active. My fucked up ex management, basically, they deleted the whole data base of that when I
Jesus,
split up with them in 2005. These motherfuckers. Sorry when I say this, just a very honest guy. Because nowadays, just with what I had already in the early days, organically, naturally, not set up, it was just coming organically together, would have been something really big today. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
like without a shadow of a doubt. However, um, I mean, coming back to the whole thing, I really do love what I do. I have also adapted to the modern world. Not really my music. I'm not trying to be like, let's say, more accessible, more framed, more easy to listen to, or anything like that. My music, I was also just with a friend just listening to, let's say, club music that I produced from last 25 years, just like 2 nights ago. We were sitting here smoking a few and just listened to all the stuff. And then after like 2 hours, I told him, well, dude, I just realized again, I've always been a bit strange and quirky with my and it's very good to hear, when I now hear like some things 15, 20 years ago that I made, and we were just sitting here, wow, this fits actually exactly in the sound of now. And yeah, I mean, I'm I'm just constantly rolling because I love it. I'm constantly rolling because it's necessary. It's
Yeah.
like I do have a huge heritage. I'm more than 30 years professional, um, self-employed professional in the whole thing. But the heritage doesn't pay the bills. The relevance of today pays the bills. Yeah, how
Yeah.
relevant are you now in the scene? I had many occasions in the past months where I like purposely like kind of like paying attention to that, and not in a bad way, just reality that like I came together with like younger generation DJs, blah blah blah, ravers, and then people came in the club. For example, at Pikes in Ibiza, I was playing there 2 weeks ago, and a whole bunch of people came. Hey, the music you're playing is just fucking awesome. What's your name? Do you release music? And then
Yeah.
I said, yeah, my name is Timo Maas, and yes, I do release music. And if you like what you hear, get my SoundCloud page. And if you're really interested in that, I said, go on Wiki, and then you can kind of discover a whole bunch of things. But I mean, it's like I wish everyone would have the knowledge that it's like growing up in the scene and knowing who's who and so on. But the new generation simply doesn't know about this, and this is my daily work. This is my 24/7 thing I do nowadays. Is like to be relevant in today. So it's like no matter who I remix, no matter what I did, no matter what chart success I had back in the past, it's a great read. It's great to have done this and so on. It's impressive for everyone who knows, but in the end of the day, it's like, does this sell tickets today? Yeah, reality of that, does it sell tickets? Is that music that is relevant for people when they listen on their Spotify round
Yeah.
weekly? Is this something that matters to them? And this is the daily business, and I'm
It's
deep
so
into
true. It's so true. Have you always had that mindset though? Like,
I was
was it
always
ever?
very open-minded, mate. It's like I never made myself the illusion, this is. I never thought of myself, hey, I'm the Don, I'm the
Yeah.
king. I
Yeah.
never ever in my career said I have made it, because I also said more than 20 years ago in an interview, as soon as this point comes and I say, hey, I've made it, yeah, I've reached this point, then I've lost it in the same
Yeah.
moment, because then there's no ambition anymore to go further up, whatever up is, whatever the direction is. Yeah, but yeah, I'm very aware of where I am. I'm very aware of, as I say, I'm 55. And I'm very aware of, let's say, a youngster comes with the same track that I just produced. A youngster, unknown youngster, comes on the same label with a fresh noun track, gets a lot of attention.
Of
An old
course.
sack like me, like a gray dog, releases exactly the same track, even with all the heritage, and it's kind of, yeah, he's serving another one. It's like the point of view, how people look at me, how people look at you when you're longer in the business is a different one. This is also something that I have discovered. And as I say, I'm very aware of that, and I'm trying to kind of like, use the modern technology to spread my word in the best possible way. It's not always easy. It really is not easy. And heritage is great, but it can also be a burden. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. It's really interesting. I was talking to one of my good friends yesterday on the phone, who's also DJ producer and has been in the scene for probably as long as me. And we were talking about that. We were talking about how we're at the point now in our careers where we've achieved some great things, but it's just another Will Clarke record, right? And it's almost like the industry. And this isn't me being negative. This is just being a complete
Real.
realist.
This is
It's
reality.
complete realist. Is that
Mm.
another Will Clarke record? Although it could be better technically, it could sound better, it could work better on the dance floor than a new kid on the block that is the fresh talk about town. Like, the industry doesn't necessarily want to know about my record because they've heard about my records for the last 15 years, right? And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think the scene needs to carry on evolving, and I think the scene needs new, fresh people. And look, at the end of the day, if you were still headlining the same festivals that you were headlining 20 years ago, there'd be an issue, right? Like, it would be a real issue in music, and I feel the same. However, when probably more so you than me, because I'm at the early stage of having that feeling right now. But it's how do you adapt and how do you evolve, and how do you stay current in a market that is very hard to stay current when the old guard aren't allowed to stay current, right? Like there's a lot of people that there's a lot of people that you've seen, right, that you grew up that had probably more success than you, that don't even get gigs anymore, that just gave up. I have got countless amount of friends that I
You
looked up
just
to.
you just said something. They gave up. And one of the
Mm,
most important things, and I mean, with all my experience and the position I am, 30 years
yeah,
professional, it's like I've been hugely successful in the early 2000s, like really one of the top
the
guys in the game,
biggest.
reality, yeah.
Yeah,
And but to sustain, not even on that level, but to sustain in the scene, and especially after pandemia, also pandemia just wiped out a big percentage of old scene, like respected artists and so on and so on. A lot of them just didn't have or don't have the energy anymore to work with the same energy and power that is necessary nowadays to be recognized,
yeah,
to be visible, to be, it's a very hard work. When I am also a coach for up and coming producers, artists, and so on and so on. And very often they say, "Ah, yeah, you're a legend. I'm so much looking up to you." I said, "In the end of the day, don't look up to me. Look eye to
yeah,
eye to me, because we are literally in the same fucking boat. I
yeah.
do have a history. You probably don't, but it doesn't matter for the relevance of today. So let's stick the heads together, eye to eye, and find the best possible way of how to reflect our talent out there and being recognized."
Mm.
It's the same shit. And
It is, man. It's the same shit, and it's interesting because I'm good mates with MK. I'm sure you know him. But like, when I sit down and have a chat with him, and he talks about the, like, from releasing Burning to then trying to build a career in hip hop and just being an absolute failure of a producer. And it wasn't a failure, like, but he was barely earning money. He was writing for Will Smith. He did some massive records with Pitbull, but like, he still didn't really have a career. But what did he do? He carried on doing. And then 2011, I think it was 2011, after 20 years of not having anything really,
yeah.
carried on going, and now is where he's at today. And that doesn't happen by stopping.
If you don't, it's like a lottery. If you don't buy the ticket, you cannot win.
Yeah.
And it's here it's in music business also, like one of my typical Timo phrases that I'm telling my students. But in the end of the day, if you don't play the game properly, you have no chance to succeed, and there's no guarantee for succeeding. I have enough students that put in fuckloads of money to build up their career. I always tell them it's a good idea to use tools, but in the end of the day, no one can guarantee you that.
Mm.
It's like, but if you don't play the game, if you don't like put everything, go the extra mile, put everything you're able to give and a little bit more into the whole thing, then you also don't have the chance
Yeah.
the theoretic chance to succeed. I know very well. I mean, I have been, as I say, it has been different times, different period, but the essence of it is the same.
Mm.
Hard work, constant hard work will eventually pay back. sometimes fast. Nowadays, also it's possible to do this like relatively fast. Sometimes it's like you mentioned, after 20 years, like hustling, every fucking day, working on it, believing most importantly in the uniqueness of your art, yeah, and continue your way. And not being like, pushed down by, failure, pushed down by whatever, someone fucks you up. I mean, I've been like ripped off so often in my career. When I really see it from a business side of perspective, uh, 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 bro, it's like I should have given up and, I don't know, have a 9 to 5 or so somewhere and just like, fuck you all. And, I got my whatever, my monthly payments that are guaranteed at the end of the month. I would have done this already, but I'm just not this kind of personality. I never give up.
Nah, man, I
When
think
someone smacks my face and when I'm falling, I stand up again, wipe my mouth, adjust the crown, and I'm moving on. I've
I
always been like that.
no, I
I had
agree.
to fight, bro.
Yeah.
I had to fight. Also, I come from a shit family and all that, and I always had to fight. I never had the support. When I was then, eventually, after many, many years putting so much work, passion, most importantly, love and enthusiasm into this. And I was then eventually becoming more and more recognized and successful then in the end. Then family, close friends, but acquaintance and so on and so on. I always knew this. Yeah, and I'm so proud of you. What have
Yeah.
you done? You fucking, you know, mother, she has thrown my fucking turntables in the garbage because I was too loud. This is not support. And
Yeah.
I was fighting it. I mean, sorry to, but this is the reality of my youth.
Yeah.
I had to fight for everything. I had to store and hide my records that I was collecting since I was a child in a friend's house because they were not safe at home because everyone was annoyed of me. Many years later, I was successful. Oh, I always knew this. Everyone's running around. Oh, my brother, my son, and this and that. And
Yeah.
felt
How does
disgusting for me.
how does that feel?
Hey,
How does that feel now though?
I'm reflecting differently now, obviously, with my life experience. Well, how does it feel now? I know how important it is to have control of the things you're doing. I know how important it is to most importantly believe yourself and not what someone's whispering in your ear because you're just at the moment, like let's say the hot shit.
Yeah.
But 2 months later, this person even greet you anymore in a party because it's like there was this like let's say time frame where they can cut a little piece out of your cake. Yeah,
Yeah.
for their own for their own thing, but not really for you. You know that yourself. When you're like anyhow successful in the business, everyone wants a piece of you.
Of course.
And as soon as the light is a little bit, like shining on someone else, you're just like, no one gives a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
And as I say, I'm very aware. I learned from the beginning on that hard work will pay back. And in the end of the day, this is still my my philosophy of today. I mean, it's like I'm not sitting here and say, okay, I make a few club tracks and then do my DJ bookings, and this is how I kind of like survive, and this is my thing. I'm also looking for the niches, like you do also with your podcast and so on. The niches, the another face, another representation to show that there is much more behind than occasionally doing the bread and butter business, like serving club tracks
Yeah.
and doing this and that. I do on the production side so many different things no one really has an idea of, like really sophisticated album productions and so on and so on. And then also I'm building up with some very dedicated partners, and we're over a year now in the game. No, we're not in the game yet, but we're building up a new education platform and so on and so on, which is super unique. There's nothing like that so far, and we are going to launch this also in a few weeks.
Amazing.
But
Well,
that's an extra thing. I can't
yeah.
talk more, but it's like
Well,
it's
this podcast probably isn't going to come out for a while. So
so there is a new there is a new platform that I am building up since a year with
this
some.
podcast is coming out in 12th of August.
Okay. There's a new platform. We have been working on for much more than a year, my team and I, and let's say it's some kind of a Tinder for producers.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it sounds actually quite funny, but it's a very, very, very helpful thing for producers, for people that want to work together with like-minded people on very specified and very individualized ways.
Mm.
And all our tests, the alpha beta test, were doing like extremely well. It's a complete new platform. It's nothing, we are using, that anyone else is using. It's a complete new individual thing. It includes individual personalized, like coaching opportunities, mentoring opportunities, even management opportunities. So it's on a wider scale something that takes care of you as an aspiring artist, because every aspiring artist, you know that you yourself well, we are very great in
Yeah.
certain things, but in some things we're complete honks, we're complete
Mm-hmm.
idiots. Yeah.
Mm.
And to fill those gaps, we were thinking, how can we kind of like develop artists, but how can we do this that it reaches basically, um, it reaches exactly the needs that
Yeah.
every aspiring artist has, and everyone's individual there. And
Yeah.
we were thinking and working a lot on the possibility of doing it like that, and we are pretty much there. And let's say it's a custom made educational program. It's only a part of the whole thing, but
Yeah.
that's the basis. The community is the basis. You are communicating with really like-minded people. Not everyone can kind of like join this community. So far, the community is extremely creative, and it's not
Mm.
just beginners there. There's also some even well-known names
Yeah.
in the community that are super happy that they have a platform that is just not standard, and that is not like, let's say, you do an Ableton course and so
Yeah.
on, and then you graduate, but what happens with you after?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you're doing this education, this and that school, and blah blah blah, you're doing the retreats and blah blah blah, but what happens with you after?
Yeah.
Who is there? Anyone who is kind of like recognizing what is your real needs? What is needed, that you can you have a straight target. What is needed for that? And
Yeah.
we help you with that. We have developed something, as I say, that is really, really unique, and that will help hopefully a lot of people to reach the goals that they want. And
Mm.
everyone has different goals, and this is considered from the very first second.
I think everyone, it's really interesting as well. But yeah, you're right. Everyone has different goals and everyone has different needs.
Totally.
And I think where you sit is in a very, and I don't use this in an egotistical way, but you sit with a huge amount of knowledge of over the years.
Mhm.
And I talk about this quite a lot outside of the podcast with friends.
Yeah.
I'm actually helping. There's an incredible producer, engineer, technically,
Yeah.
and he's got family, doesn't want to do the touring artist life, but has ran courses for other courses. And I
Yeah.
was like, dude, just make your own, make your own mentorship course. Like, you can really add value to people's lives. Like, so he's in the process of doing something like that. And I'd like to actually, I hope this becomes a bigger thing in the industry, because when you and I started, even more so you than me, you didn't have a clue. There was no way to just like ask somebody, like it
Well, we didn't even plan that.
no.
Like us in the early 90s, we just did.
Yeah.
We're not aware of any kind of consequences. We
Mm-hmm.
gave a fuck. We
Yeah.
wanted to have fun. The thing was organically growing.
Yeah.
The energies were organically, developing, and so on and so on. It then eventually became a business, but even the idea of a business was not there in the beginning. We wanted to play, we wanted to make music, we wanted to just do something. It was a subculture. It was a real subculture,
Yeah.
and it was something that was against all odds. Really,
Yeah.
there was nothing like that. Was the nowadays the kids, yeah, I want to make a DJ career, and this is how fucking boring. I mean, we just did it, and you and I mean, you're a few years younger than me, but you're also long in the game already.
Yeah.
You and I, we just did it, and we're then eventually, because I guess because we love so much what we do, we were, or we are reaching this like certain point, and of course, it's important to develop from there, because the same recipe never works.
How do you feel about the industry right now, in a sense of that it is actually a career path for people nowadays? It's so available to the general public, right? DJing, you see, let's say for instance with Coachella, right? Coachella, 70% of the artists at Coachella were DJs. Like, it's so commercialized in a way where anybody can be a DJ now.
Do you really think, okay, now it's about naming, do you think it's DJs or it's performers? Because for me, it's a big difference. A DJ is a selector. A DJ, and then coming back to the old school, for me, a DJ is a selector. A DJ is sometimes, James Hype, for example, is like a technical wizard.
Yeah.
I'm not jumping on the train to diss James Hype, because in the end of the day, he does exactly what we did in the 80s already, better mixing just with modern technology.
James is
And
great. He's
and
great.
and and what I seen also, there's a beef right now, just really recently, a few days ago, seen a beef between him and Deadmau5 and so on and so. What the fucking bullshit that is. I mean, in the end of the day, it's a different performance. James Hype, I would still, kind of like consider a DJ, but a lot of those stage performers are, for me, performers, and they are partly like really really good in what they are, but it has nothing to do with DJ culture. They play music, correct, but they are not DJs, in my opinion. A DJ is a selector, is someone who brings musical skills and knowledge into something that excites the people, makes them dance, like really old school, makes them dance, and not make them putting up their phone and, kind of like catch the crazy move or dance move or the three tits or the horse mouse or whatever they want to catch over there. This is performance.
Yeah.
And some of it is completely ridiculous. Some of that is actually really good
Yeah.
for that what it is, but it's not DJ.
Yeah.
Clearly not. No. I don't. Sorry, man. I'm old school, but this is like, this one thing has nothing to do with the other. But it's the modern way of. And Coachella is a very good example. I mean, I know firsthand that, for example, the bookings for Coachella are basically decided by algorithm. Is decided by, who's putting the most people into what area on Coachella, who has the most like clicks on their social medias, who has the most followers, who has the most likes, who has the most comments. Everything goes into that, and it's like, it's a clear decision, not artistic. It's a clear decision by public visibility, maybe. Yeah, and that's sad.
At what point did you feel that change? Because I think you've seen multiple eras in this industry, right? Where, like, even for me, my first time experience in Ibiza.
When was that? When was your first time Ibiza?
2006.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was resident out there 2008 for 3 years. And for me, there was parties then that was purely based on the party. The DJ was almost a secondary. You would have promoters that people would know the night. Circoloco was a classic example. Like, I know you're a long-term resident there. Another one, We Love Sundays. Sundays at Space. It was, don't get me wrong, you had headliners, but the party was never sold on the headliner. It was sold on.
It was sold of the energy that's there.
Of what you're going to get. You're going to get an eclectic amount of artists and DJs, and you're going to experience some music that you've never experienced before in a club that you've never experienced before, and you're going to want to go back every single year.
I mean,
at what point did you feel that change?
When the smartphone came in?
Yeah.
I would say when the iPhone came in 2005, when it got invented, and people used the new opportunities of like making, you know, decent videos and this and that, and kind of like also social media was like then also a lot more spreading. We started with MySpace, but then eventually Facebook came in, and you know, it's like the ways of also spreading your word were just getting more and more. The early 2000s until then, and you mentioned just Circoloco, I've been 18 years resident there. The early years before the smartphone in Circoloco was probably the most real clubbing I have ever had.
Really?
Uh, Without a shadow of a doubt. If
Yeah.
you look now on YouTube, there's a few videos from 2002, 2003. What you see, and this is the biggest difference to today, is a lot of laughing people.
Yeah.
Of course, no one a phone in the hand, laughing people, letting their hair down, and just party. Party for the sake of partying. Party for the sake of just like, you know, leaving their reality behind, and just like, for me, it was the same. Circoloco, even though it was my heydays, I was extremely successful all around the world. I love to be in DC-10 just because I could just be who I am without anyone judging me. It was the real thing. And most importantly, also, as a prime example, the sound they had there from the dear residents that were there in that time was a super unique sound. There was no club in the world that had this sound.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's different. Long story short, nowadays it's different. You know, it's like popular DJs, popular nights, and so on and so on. Back in the days, the club was identifying themselves first of all with the energy, of course,
Yeah.
but then also with the sound. And it was not that it was like world-known DJ. There was no Sasha Digweed or whoever was like big in the early days. None of them was really playing there. I mean, I remember Steve Lawler, who was resident for the Sunday at Space.
Yeah.
I witnessed 6 or 7 times that Lawler, and you know, big respect to Steve, yeah, that Lawler arrived with his record box and said, I want to play here, and they always said, hey, you're welcome, yeah, but you cannot play here. Not everyone can play here.
Yeah.
It's like, but he tried it so often. Yeah, he tried, came with his record, came from space, wanted to play, but that was a family there, and the family had an idea of not even a concept, but an idea of like how to celebrate, and what kind of like, you know, what kind of musical direction it goes, was always very underground, whatever that means.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the end of the day, it was the mother of a lot of like famous babies. I mean, if it's Luciano or Loco Dice or the Martinez or Sass or whoever, they all started there in this melting pot of intense energy. I am missing the, let's say, the naive kind of views. We were naive. We were, you know what we wanted? I didn't give a fuck if anyone makes a picture or this or how do I behave. We just were jumping into this mad circus and enjoyed ourselves, enjoying playing music, enjoying trying new strange things out, enjoying being together with the people. It was always we and this kind of family, and this kind of family feeling is something I am not just like, you know, us DJs and then, you know, they're the crowd. It was like back in the days, it's like, I'm still in contact with people from the crowd after 25 years. Yeah, we're still like connected on Facebook. When we run into each other every few years, you know, we have something in common. This is a memory of a time that will never come back. Yeah. Today is also great parties. Today is also great things, but it's not a new thing anymore. We were discovering in the 90s and then early 2000s, we were just discovering things that are a common thing right now, but we were doing it for the first time. And we were doing it without like being kind of like judged for that, or, you know, with any kind of like prediction or whatever. It's like, we just did it and it was great.
I think that's the difference, isn't it? It's time, right? It's age. It's the house music in the 90s, in the early 2000s was still young. It was still like started in the 80s, like 20 years late, 10 years, even 10 years in the 90s. It's still young. 10 years of a genre is young. It's like country music, right?
Yeah.
Country music is old now, which means every fucker's doing it because they realize that you can make a shit ton of money from it if you're successful, right?
Yeah.
Like why is Post Malone doing a country album? Like, he was a rapper, but there's a business there, so go fucking get it.
I was always saying, because you say that, I was always saying, why was Madonna never doing a country album, a folk music country album?
Yeah.
Why did she never do that? Why did she always, or still today, like tries, if she does something, why is she trying to be young? Age with class. Yeah. It's like, how fucking revolutionary would have been that?
I know.
Madonna's coming, cowboy hat on and so on, does something that is authentic in its genre, and breaks the rules of the expectable, really. Sorry to interrupt you, Will.
You remixed Madonna
Also Madonna, yes.
in 2000, was it
2002 or 3?
Don't Tell Me, was it the record?
Yeah, don't tell me. It was on the album where music was that really legendary album that Meerweiss was producing.
Yeah,
it was one of the. I wanted to, or I would have loved to do a remix of music, but I was only on single 2 or 3.
yeah.
But I mean, hey, it's like it's
still Madonna.
It's first world problems, really. It's not a problem even. Like,
how was that phone call, email, whatever that came through? How did that even happen?
Shocking.
Yeah.
At the time, Martin Buttridge and we were working as a team, and we were, let's say, we were doing already like top-notch artists and so on. But I mean, at the time, still Madonna was the biggest pop artist in the world. And when they knocked on the door, management doors, we didn't tell anyone. We didn't tell anyone outside of the studio that we're working on that. And then we were working fully concentrated on the remix before we even started talking about it. Because when we started talking about that, interviews, even a TV team appeared in my private house and with a camera in their hand and said, hey, it's like here, RTL TV is a big private station here in Germany. They appeared in my private house on the countryside in Germany without announcing and said, hey, it's like we heard, and then with the camera on me said, get the fuck off my ground here. It's like, what the fuck is going on? So the media interest was huge.
Yeah.
It's the same with Depeche Mode. When we did Depeche Mode, Enjoy the Silence, Martin and I, we didn't tell anyone first to not have too much pressure on us, to not have too much public pressure on us, that we can do like artistically a great work, which we did. I mean, looking back, the years I was working with Martin were the most successful, and I think still to the day of today, I think we've done some, not all of it, but a lot of really awesome stuff that even stands the time of today and still works today. There's a whole bunch of things that still get played today from many of my respected artists, and I'm really happy about this. I'm really happy to have, like, let's say, shed my pile already in the history of electronic music. But I don't see this as a retrospective looking back. I'm still doing that. Sometimes you have momentum and something gets visible again. I'm still working a lot. I'm still remixing a lot. I'm still producing a lot. I'm still playing, my DJ sets.
Yeah.
And I don't do nothing else than I did, like, let's say 20 years, 25 years, even 30 years ago.
Do you still work with Martin?
No.
It's
many years we don't.
Doom's Night, we kind of have to talk about it.
The spot on the ass of my career. Always when you think it's gone, it's coming back.
Always.
So the last time it was coming back now with Lily's reinterpretation into hard techno.
Yeah.
The Palmer version of that. It was bringing my attention in the Generation Z from, I think, 6% to 15% now. You know the numbers, yeah?
Yeah.
Which is good, which is good. Doom's Night, yeah, well. Well, why? But no, it's
because I've never spoken to you about it. I've like we've met briefly in person.
Yeah.
But dude, like, that was iconic. It was iconic for me, like, in my career. Like, this record has put people in this music industry. It's given people some of the best nights of their lives. It's made people the best memories they've ever had, and they will always remember that record for that. And I don't get me wrong, I've had big records. I haven't had Doom's Night big record, and there's that battle of an artist of, well, I want to carry on making new music and I want to carry on pushing new music, and I don't want to be known for that one record. And you're not, but you say that it's the spot on your ass. Explain that.
Because I mean, even though from a business side of perspective, I got ripped up or ripped off with this, and I mean that's a known thing. It's not a new thing. But on the other hand, it made my name visible all around the world. It had all around the world charts entry. There was hundreds of compilations. Back in the days, there was still a compilation market. Hundreds of compilations, advertising, movies, and so on and so on. It really is, until the day of today. I should have named it Timo Maas, but I didn't. Yeah, it was the most successful Timo Maas record, and on the other hand, it was my breakthrough. It opened the doors for everything else I was doing, even before that got recognized, and what I was doing after. I mean, frankly, it's not the only thing that was like that, and this is another thing, maybe also a proof that I'm not a one-hit wonder. I've never been a one-hit wonder. I mean, it's Depeche Mode is a very good example. Enjoy the Silence, the remix, is a totally timeless piece of music, and due to my song stats, I know who is playing that, and there's notifications every weekend from top guys all around the world that are playing this radio shows and sets or anything like that. So there has been a few, and as I say, it reads super. It's super cool, it reads super, but it's not important for the relevance of today.
Correct.
For the relevance in today's market. I mean, I've been nominated twice for a Grammy and so on. It reads amazing, but it never brought me one single gig. In my whole career.
It's really interesting because I was talking. I do a lot of talking, as I'm sure you're aware, and as I'm sure you do. But there's certain things we do in our careers, right? And I'm going through that at this moment in time, where, let's say, for instance, last year we were nominated for a Grammy. Last year I played Coachella. Last year I released an album. Last year I did my first live tour, right? Does any of it make me more successful in a business sense? Has any of it? No, not one bit. Not it's actually done the opposite, right? All of those things, not all of those things, but a lot of those things cost me financially, which now put me in a situation that I'm almost back to square one, but just knowing a little bit more knowledge, right? It's the university of the music industry. And it's really interesting that you say that, because everybody from the outside looks, not everybody, but I can only speak for certain people, but everybody from the outside looks at these certain achievements that as artists we kind of want, right? Until you get it. And then you're like, oh fuck, like that didn't actually change anything.
It's another puzzle piece in the big picture. This is what I always say. It's another puzzle piece. Some are corner pieces. Some things that happen are corner pieces, means important pieces. Azzido Da Bass, definitely a corner piece.
Yeah,
for sure. Because it's something that sustains in a way. Even you are asking me for that, so it's like it's for good reason. But it doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't. It's it's great. And also, when someone is interested, let's say, in what I'm doing, what I said, a whole bunch of people, hey, what's your name? What's your name? What's your DJ name? I had this, and they have no clue. They just love what I do. This makes me, by the way, really happy to still be able to convince people that have not any knowledge about that I'm able to kind of like trigger them, like on a way that they think, wow, this is different.
Yeah.
This is something unique, and so on and so on. But yeah, not bad.
What other what are, so we you talk about corner puzzles. What other puzzles pieces of the puzzle in your industry that you have noticeably noticed a difference that has made a difference in your career?
The experience I have done, I was also I learned a lot of being a regular at Circoloco from pretty much not the very first year, but they started in '99 and I started playing regularly in 2001.
How did that happen?
Um, Interesting. Let's say 2000 was the year where everything was exploding, like
Yeah.
completely. Azzido Da Bass was going top 10, and
Yeah.
not just that, like a whole bunch of other things also were getting extremely successful. I was traveling a lot. And at the time between 2000 and 2005, our good old friend Loco dies. He's from Düsseldorf. I live near Düsseldorf nowadays also. I know him from the late 90s as a hip hop DJ.
Yeah.
He was my tour manager. Yeah.
No way.
And between 2000 and 2005, not really tour manager, rather a mood manager, the person
Yeah.
who traveled with me and held my hand
Yeah.
because of, it's when you are successful, there's also no school of how to learn to
Yeah.
be successful. You need someone to kind of like lean on, smack the face or whatever. You need this kind of like, this kind of ventile
Yeah.
of like kind of digesting what's happening to you, and he has been just absolutely essential also in these years for me to build up. But like what I learned in Circoloco is I learned even more to be individual in my DJ sets, to
Yeah.
even more believe in my skills, in my instinct and is an authentic instinct. There's like certain words I love to use, but where I was able to follow my instinct and really let out what I'm really feeling, and I
Mm.
learned a lot there, and it was shaping me as a DJ even more, even though I was already 20 years playing when I started there. But this is another thing that's like Azzido Bass as a success of a record, Circoloco for sure for the DJing, and for like being recognized not on, let's say, a commercial way,
Yeah.
like being recognized again, which I absolutely love, for the quality.
Yeah.
They would have not like give me arrangements on a regular basis if I would have just delivered average shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. This for sure is, it's too many. It's like, I mean, I've done so many more things than you, even though even you did good research.
Mm.
The combination of everything kept me in the business, that after 30 years I'm still professional, still love, I deeply love what I do.
Mm.
Deeply love what I do. I really absolutely, there's nothing better for me, and that's my safe space, to be behind the decks and just trip the shit out of the people in front of me. I absolutely love that.
Love it.
You know this. It's
Yeah,
like,
man.
I don't know if the youngsters are really aware what kind of power they have on people.
Mm.
When you're a good DJ, when you're a DJ and not just someone who plays down their playlist and does like funny like clown moves on stage, it's like you have an extreme power.
Yeah.
It's up to you. It's how the energy is in the club or in event. It's up to you. You control this for 100%. It's not the promoter. It's not. It's you in the interaction, ideally with the crowd. This is and it's an immense amount of power.
Yeah.
And I realized that very early. I realized in that already in the '80s, when I was like, playing every Friday, Saturday, all night long on my own in big commercial clubs already, like
Mm.
87, 89. I was playing already like 1,500, 2,000 people every Friday, every Saturday, but with commercial music, with '80s music. Always sprinkled a few electronic things already into that. Got kicked out of several clubs. Hey, you and you, this rave, we call this rave sound, and this rave sound there, it's like, this is not what the people want to hear. I said, I don't give a fuck what they want to hear. I want to play them what I think they should hear.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, some were understanding, and it was also eventually successful, but most of them didn't.
Mm.
They wanted me to serve like a jukebox. I never been like that. I
Do
just
do
never
you
been
do
like
you
that.
miss doing do you miss is there a period in time that you wish it was, or are you really happy just to keep firing forward?
I mean, it's like times are changing. what I absolutely loved, and for many, many years absolutely loved, is like our Facebook back in the days was the record store.
Yeah.
So before technology, digital music technology, it was an integral part of my life to
Yeah.
get my ass into the record store, because everything was happening from there. When you showed your face 2, 3 times a week, you were getting the hot records, because the hot records were only there three of them, five of them.
Yeah.
And if you were not a regular, you were not getting the records, and you were not able to play that shit. Yeah.
That's what I miss the most, if I'm
It's
honest.
like the exclusivity of being a selector.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like, I mean, you know this. If there's, any track you hear somewhere, or somehow, and eventually you will get it as a
Yeah.
digital copy, and everyone kind of like can Shazam your sets and so on, and
Yeah.
somehow you are able to get everything. So it doesn't have the special kind of like, this. Wow, I own this. I paid 200 euros, 300 euros equivalent for vinyl, just because I wanted this fucking vinyl, because no one else has it. I wanted to play this absolutely super legendary track, just because I was one of the very few lucky ones who had it and who was able to perform that. And
It
of
was
course,
it was also the search of hearing somebody play a record and then the search of trying to find that record.
yeah, the urge of like, I need this.
There's still records that from my early days of going to Ibiza of hearing in a club and I still have never found them.
I
And
mean,
I know that feeling. Like I remember the feeling of what that record is, but I still have never found those records.
I recently, a couple of years ago, I found back in the basement a box of like old DAT tapes, like, and
Sick.
I was very early with a mobile DAT recorder in the 90s. So I started recording sets in 94, like more than 30 years ago, digitally with that. And then I had a person like putting like all those like live recordings, I would say about 150
Yeah.
live sets from like 94 to 2001. And I have them now all on a separate hard disk, and from time to time I'm releasing some of them.
That's so cool.
But also because everything was 100% pure vinyl.
Yeah.
If you Shazam those mixes, maybe you're lucky and you find 1 or 2 tracks of like 2 hours. Yeah. But it's like, you have no idea how often I have Shazam my old sets, because it's a fuck. What was this track?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's a. I remember it was the white sleeve with a cut off corner and the 3 dots in the corner.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the name, but I remember the physical
Yeah, man.
vinyl of that. Yeah,
I think there was also like, I don't know about you, but I'm not good at remembering names. I'm not good at remembering anything, but I'm really good at remembering covers,
yeah,
artwork.
yeah. I started, when was that? I started like mid 90s, around that. I started making little notes on the covers.
Oh, did you?
Put stickers on that, and then sometimes I made little notes, not even with the name. The name was like, okay,
Just
of
whatever.
course,
Yeah.
you recognize that, especially when you have this physical thing that you take in your hand.
Yeah.
I love the nostalgia in these memories. It is not necessary at all today. Yeah, it's like, let's say, a vinyl set nowadays. For me personally, there's no different. For me personally, it's still about the selection, and 2% of your crowd really take care of from what medium you play,
Yeah.
really. And most importantly, 98% of the people want to dance and want to
Yeah.
be entertained.
That's the main
So for
thing.
me, it's most important that whatever I am playing nowadays has best possible quality. So lossless quality, this is the most important thing, that I can trigger a good system also with the best possible signal. I I had 35,000 vinyls, mate, and,
Wow.
and it's many years ago. Apart from my own ones, I obviously still have here, a
Yeah.
wall full of that, but it's all my own vinyl. And but I sold all the other ones because I was literally not playing them anymore. Storage was expensive, and it was not a collector's
Yeah.
thing. It was tools for me, so they
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
partly quite fucked up. But when I listen, what I said, when I listen to the old mixes, or even sometimes, quite often, when I sit in the studio, when I'm creative with my different teams I'm working with, these memories pop up, and memories of tracks I had that are just not available anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. That are just not available.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
I do have a whole bunch, thousands of tracks digitalized, especially from the 90s, that are not available really nowadays. Yeah, I do have this too, and from time to time, I'm digging in this kind of like old digital crates, or what I said with the mixes. Even get ideas from that, and
Oh,
so on and so on.
100%.
So it is still there. It's not physically there anymore, but it's still there and still inspiring me.
Yeah.
And when I don't remember that anymore, and when the point in my life will come, then I know, anyways, then I'm going to be dement or whatever, or just old or whatever, and fine. But right now, I do have this here on my hard disk,
Mm.
the stuff, and I still, I remember most importantly, a track is not even like, let's say, the aesthetics of a track and the energy of a track were always the most important thing for me, and are also nowadays the most important thing for me. That a track is not a track.
Yeah.
I would say 90% of the stuff that comes out is average, framed,
Yeah.
normal, done before. I'm always looking for this last 5%, 10%, quirky, different, strange in my production, but also when I DJ. I don't find a lot of new tracks that really excite me, but I do find them.
Yeah. They're
It's not,
there. There's there. You just have to go through the noise.
yeah. I mean, it's like, that for yourself. I'm
Yeah.
getting like roughly 500 promo emails a week. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
And
listen to promos.
I do. Well,
Do
I
you?
do.
Yeah.
Because I'm 95%, again, my percentage, but 95% is framed for me, standard garbage. I'm not
Yeah.
interested in this stuff. But I still find the gems. I'm not listening to all 500. It's literally impossible. But after years and so on,
Yeah.
I nearly every day I look into my promo folder, and the things that I find interesting, I'm going through that. And there's still hundreds of tracks I'm listening to every week. And I still do find things, but it's not so easy because everyone sounds the fucking same. It's just melodic house, melodic techno. They all use the same fucking keys.
Well, I think it's also there's multiple reasons for that, right? Like partly we are now in an industry that is so commercialized that you have for success, whatever that is, to get on a Spotify playlist, to have big DJs play your records, big performers in your world to play your records. It has to fit in a certain thing. Like the guy, I forgot his name, Boiler Room. I'm searching this now because Japan.
Oh, this Japanese guy there.
Yeah, the Yasuku
Yeah.
Yamamatsu.
This 15 seconds
Yeah,
that were getting like really viral
yeah,
is for me one of the best moments. I get goosebumps right
dude.
now when you just mentioned that.
I watched the set. I watched it, and I was like, "This is a fucking DJ set." Like,
Yes.
he goes from really hard techno to like playing Chemical Brothers, that's just like a disco record, to hard techno again, to like breakbeat, and
The
that's
energy,
dude,
it's the energy there.
dude.
It's exactly. I was showing that to so many people, also not also like close friends, but that have nothing to do with the music business.
Yeah,
I said, hey, you want to see something fucking amazing? Please, you are gonna get like goosebumps. Yeah, what do you want to show me from DJ World? And then I
yeah,
showed them like this, there is this moment in the set where it's in fucking incredible.
yeah,
It's the perfection of what you can have in DJing.
yeah,
The response of the crowd, the energy, the pure driving energy. It's awesome. Very good,
yeah.
very good. It still is possible, Will.
So possible,
It
so
still is
possible,
possible.
and it goes. We're kind of full circle. It's about selection. All those records, none of those records were actually not out. They were all out. None of them were like IDs.
Yeah.
Like, it's just he isn't looking at what everyone else is doing that's massive,
Hmm.
and he's going, this fucking is a panty dropper. This slams, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna play it.
I mean, I don't know how much you were diving into the history of this guy, so I was reading a little bit more. But I mean, he was like terminal ill.
Yeah, brain
Yeah.
tumor.
And then and then basically he put everything on the card. He said, "I am just going to do what I love now."
Yeah.
And I mean, no matter if you like the music or not, but it's authentic. And when you are authentic, in my frank opinion, this is still the most important and the most crucial thing, to not being a one day or one hit wonder, to have something that has substance and will also last forever, but will last for a long time. I mean, after this video came out, I seen the diary of this guy. I don't know, I think looks like he has 150 shows or 200 shows until the end of the year.
Yeah, crazy.
It's like, it's completely crazy. And you know what? Well deserved.
Yeah.
Well deserved for being unique. Uniqueness. This is so many things that I'm ahead. I'm sorry, Will, but uniqueness is something that I so miss. Everyone wants to be, conveniently fitting into the scene. It's like, everyone plays Afro House. I play Afro House with some extra vocals in it and some extra beautiful melodies and so on. But where's the uniqueness? Where is the edge? Where is the recognizable thing? Where is the thing that disturbs the harmonic kind of thing, the consumer friendly, here's your golden tablet, here, take it, it's nice, it's for your convenience, it's easy. And uniqueness is something for me, is authenticity. I hate this word. Being authentic is for me
it's not good for the German language.
No, fuck that, man. And
it's not aggressive enough.
And I have my wife is Peruvian, and trust me, we are talking a lot about the fucked up German language. I know this very well. But this is something that I also like clearly teach my students. It's like, guys, no matter what, it's like a lot of them are delivering like good tracks. Yeah. Even some of them great tracks.
Yeah.
But I always tell them, hey, there is good tracks coming out every week, a few 100,000 on all platforms in reality. So you want to be at least heard and recognized. A good track is not good enough. And even a great track is not good enough. You have to have something awesome. And the awesomeness is not essentially the level of production quality, is to have the right idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I know so many people also like having like huge studios for hundreds of thousands and so on and so on, but they lack ideas. They're really good in their technical skills and abilities and so on and so on. But the idea, the unique idea, the thing that kind of like, that connects because it is unique. It's something. Azzido Da Bass was unique. Or still is unique.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit still today into any kind of particular genre, and it still is like fucking. We call this an earworm. Yeah. It just, you hear that one time and it stays in your ear.
It does, man.
But you cannot plan that. Also, you cannot plan to make a hit. It would be awesome. Oh man, I would love to do this. I go to, hey dude, hey, well, I'm out now. I'm going to go the next 3 days. I have a clear plan. I'm going to make a hit with my friend. And next week I'm going to find a deal. In 3 months I'm going to be number one in Beatport or in the US charts. It's impossible.
We do it every day. If that was the case, we wouldn't be talking together. We'd be fucking writing hits because
I mean, you know what I mean. This is it's a whole bunch of things that come together. But most important thing is like, be recognizable for you. If you're quirky, great. If you're loud, if you're a character, you're certainly a character, Will. And this is also, you got charisma. A lot of so-called artists don't have that. Charisma is the key card in general, beside the great quality of music, blah blah. Charisma is in my frank opinion a very, very, if not the most important ingredient to have the chance theoretically to be recognized from a much bigger audience. Look, Seth I love Seth to bits. What a character he is.
Yeah, man.
You know, this advertising he did many years ago. I don't know,
So good.
it was some party where he turned around, was like naked,
Yeah.
and he didn't give a fuck that he doesn't have like a bodybuilder body or so, just like his belly and his little big bum, and it was just so fucking cool and authentic.
Yeah.
And that was his big. I mean, face it, that was his big breakthrough in being from the people, in being recognized from the people.
Yeah.
On top of quality music, until today, I think he is one of the most unpredictable great DJs
100%.
out there.
100%. And the thing where he has also, he's not trying to be anything, right?
No.
There's artists that jump bandwagons and they purely do it for the business.
Yeah.
It's purely business. And like, don't get me wrong, you can be successful, you can earn money, you can do that, whatever. If that makes you happy, that makes you happy.
Fair enough.
But then
There's
there's
crowds
artists
for that. They want that. Fine.
of course, but then there's artists that are artists. Okay, so this is an interesting one. There's creators and there's artists. And there's the creators create for commerce. The artists create for art. That's the difference.
Basically, but also can be commercially successful.
Of course. Look at the Chemical Brothers, man. Like for me, Chemical Brothers are number one in my life.
Yeah.
They didn't give a fuck about what anyone's doing.
Never did.
No.
Yeah, they just do their thing, and they're authentic due to that. They do their thing. They do mind-blowing performances that still, no matter if young or old, everyone's just like, what the fuck? Yeah. And this is pure art.
Yeah.
Of course, this is pure art.
I love it, man. I love it. Dude, we've just done over an hour.
I know.
Let's wrap this motherfucker up. Thank you so much for coming on. Genuinely, like, thank you for everything you've done in the industry. Thank you for just being you, man. Like, I want to say it. You've done a lot for what I do as a full-time living, and for a lot of the people listening to this.
I blush a little bit now.
You've done a lot, man. You've done a lot, and keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, just thank you so much. Thanks for coming on, man. It means a lot.
Thank you so much, Will, for giving me a platform to do a little bit of techno grandpa talk here. And I mean, likewise, it's like, I wish you definitely all the best for the future. Also, I mean, the side steps that you're doing, going away from like also the soul, like, DJing, producing, and so on, like kind of discovering new fields also to kind of like express your creativity. It's like, good luck with this.
Thank you, man.
It feels very good. Very, very nice talk. I have the feeling I could talk with you a few hours more.
Same.
Of course, I have a whole bunch of
we
stories.
Have
live. but first of all, we have a live, and then also we don't want to bore the shit out of whoever is going to be in this
talking about. Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Well,
big love.
Take care. All the best.
And that's a wrap. Big love to Timo for coming on. Absolutely loved it. Hope you're enjoying it. Please share. Please subscribe. Get involved. Get involved on the comments as well. Till next time, people.